My mom and dad tried to take all my money and things I worked for to give to their favorite first son. But what I did in court after that changed everything for them. I'm a 38-year-old man. I grew up in a home where things were clear. My big brother Nate is 41. He was the special child, the first son, who would get everything. My parents never hid this. They would say right in front of me that Nate would get the family house, the cash, all of it. Why? Because he was born first. That was the only reason. I was always the kid they thought about last. I was supposed to just be okay with Nate getting the best stuff for years. I saw it happen. Nate got the bigger room, a car when he turned 16, and all his school bills paid. I got loans to pay for school and a bus pass. My friend Rick has seen this happen since we were young. Your parents act like Nate is the best thing ever and you're just some kid from down the street, he would tell me. He was right. This same thing kept happening when we were growing up. When Nate married his wife Karen, my mom and dad gave them $30,000 to help buy their first house. When I asked for help like that 4 years later, they gave me a talk about being smart with money and doing things on my own. Nate's job was easy too. After school, my dad asked his friend to give Nate a boss job at his building company. Nate didn't need to know how to do the job, but I started at the lowest job at a computer company and worked my way up by taking classes and working late at night. My dad didn't even ask what I did for work until I had been doing it for 3 years. Jump to last year. I finally saved enough money to buy my own home after working very hard for many years. It was a 3-bedroom house in a part of town I liked. The house needed fixing up, but I spent 6 months making it just how I wanted it. I put in a new kitchen, fixed the wood floors, and made the garage into a workout room. This home was all mine. I bought it with money I worked for over 15 years of working 60 hours a week and saving as much as I could. I felt like I finally did something just for me. My name on the papers, my rules, my life. No family telling me what to do. At least that's what I thought. About 2 months after I moved in, my mom and dad came over for dinner without asking. My dad looked at everything like he checks buildings for rules, saying small things about my work not being good enough. My mom kept asking if I was sad being alone in such a big house. After dinner, they sat me down with serious faces like when I was a kid and they were mad at me. My dad said, "Your mom and I have been talking about your house. We think Nate should have this house instead of you." I just looked at him. What? My mom said, "We just want to keep family things in order. Nate has kids who need the room. You're not married. This makes the most sense." "What are you talking about? This is my house," I said. "I bought it with my money. There's nothing to talk about." My dad leaned forward the way he used to scare me when I was 10, but it doesn't work now. "We're not taking it from you. This is about family being together. Nate would let you stay here until you find a smaller home." Before I could answer, Nate came in from the kitchen. He was listening the whole time. He had that look on his face he's had since we were kids. "Don't be mad, bro," he said. "This is just what's best for the family. You don't really need all this room." I stood up. "This is my home. I will not sign papers to give it to you or anyone. We're done talking." The room got very quiet. My mom and dad looked at each other the way they do when I don't do what they want. They left soon after. Their evening was ruined. I walked around the house that night, wondering if I had imagined the whole talk. What kind of family asks you to give up your house? What kind of brother thinks that's okay? They thought they should have my house for no good reason. It was so crazy that I laughed out loud in my kitchen at midnight, trying to understand what just happened. The next morning, I called Rick. He's the only person who really knows how my family is because he's seen it for many years. "Man, I think my family has gone crazy," I told him, telling him about the talk from the night before. "I'm not even surprised," Rick said. "Your brother always thinks he should have everything you have. Remember when he tried to take your first car?" I did remember. I worked for 2 years at a food store to save money for a used car when I was 18. Nate had broken his second car, the one my parents bought him after he broke the first one, and then he said he needed my car for his job. My parents actually said he was right. I only got to keep my car because I said I would quit school and move far away. "Yes, but this is different," I said. "This is my house. How could they think I would just give it to them?" "Because you've never really said no to them before," Rick said. "Not for real. You've complained, you've argued, but in the end you always came to family events, you were always nice. They think you'll give in this time too." He was right. I'd spent many years not saying how mad I was to keep peace in the family. But this time would be different. After that visit, things got bad fast. My mom started sending me many texts trying to make me feel bad. "Families should help each other, and Nate's kids need a good home. Why are you being so selfish?" My dad would call and talk about how I should think about the family name and not just myself. My Aunt Susan, my mom's sister who thinks just like them, started calling me too. Your cousin gave his first house to his big brother when he got married. That's what family does, she told me. I reminded her that her son got a house from his grandpa, so it wasn't the same. She hung up on me. Nate was the worst. He started coming to my house without telling me, with his wife, Karen. She's the kind of person who always asks to talk to the boss when she's mad at a store. They would walk through my house, pointing at things and talking about what they would change when it was their house. This wall should go, Karen would say, tapping my living room wall. We need one big room for parties. The first few times I tried to be nice, telling them this was my house and I wasn't selling it or giving it away. They would just smile and nod like I was a kid having a fit. We know you like this house, Karen would say, in a voice that made me feel dumb. Change is hard. Their kids, ages 8 and 10, were very spoiled and would run crazy in my house. They would jump on my furniture, bring mud on my clean floors, and touch my things while Nate and Karen did nothing to stop them. Kids will be kids, Nate would say when I told him what they were doing, like breaking things was just something that had to happen. Then one Saturday, I came home from working out and saw Nate's big car in my driveway, and his family was inside my house. They used the extra key I kept under a rock for times I needed it. We were just close by, Nate said, like it was no big deal, while his kids were drawing on my dining room wall with markers. Get your kids and leave, I said. Then Karen gave me a look like she was very mad. They're just playing, don't be so strict. I took my key back and put new locks on my doors that afternoon. Rick came over to help and couldn't believe what was happening. Man, this is the most selfish thing I've ever seen, he said, as we put new locks on the doors. Write down everything that happens. I did what he said. I put cameras at every door of my house and started writing down every time they talked to me or came over. The worst thing happened about 3 months after I bought my house. Besides my house, the thing I loved most was my 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger. It's an old fast car, green with a big motor. I spent 2 years fixing it up. Many weekends, late nights in the garage, and lots of money on parts. I did most of the work myself, from fixing the motor part that mixes gas and air to putting new seats inside. That car was many hours of my life. I was in the kitchen when I heard a weird scraping sound from my driveway. I looked out the window and saw Nate's 10-year-old son Tyler dragging a rock on the side of my car, making a long scratch from the front to the back. I ran outside very angry. "What are you doing?" I yelled. The kid looked at me with a smile like his dad always has. "It's just a dumb old car," he said, still holding the rock. I got very mad. I took the rock from his hand and threw it across the yard, then pushed him down. Not hard, but he fell on his butt and looked surprised. "Get away from my car," I yelled with my teeth tight. The kid started crying loud like I hurt him badly. Nate and Karen ran outside and my parents came too. They were inside the whole time. "What's wrong with you?" Karen screamed, picking up Tyler. "He's just a kid." "Your kid just did $3,000 in damage to my car," I said, pointing to the deep scratch in the paint. Nate stepped closer, trying to look big. "It's just a car. He didn't mean to do it." "Are you blind? He did it on purpose." My dad put his hand on my shoulder the way he does when he thinks he's better than me. "Son, you need to calm down. Kids make mistakes. You can't care more about things than family." I shook his hand off. "That's the problem with this family. Your favorite son and his kids can break anything they want, and I'm supposed to be okay with it?" "He's only 10 years old," my mom said, shocked. "You pushed a kid down." "I pushed someone who was breaking my things," I told her. "And where were you when he was doing it? Inside planning how to take my house?" Aunt Susan, who was also there for this trap, spoke from the porch. "This is why you can't handle big things. You can't even control your anger around kids." The family all stood together. They all looked at me like I was a bad person. Not one of them said anything about what Tyler did or offered to pay to fix my car. Instead, they spent the next hour telling me I had anger problems and that I cared too much about things. After they left, I stood in my driveway touching the scratch on my car. 2 years of work ruined in seconds by a kid who knew what he was doing. And somehow I was the one who did something wrong? I didn't just forget about it, of course. The next morning I called Nate. "I want $3,500 for the damage to my car. It will cost at least that much to fix it right." Nate laughed. "You're joking, right? It's just a scratch. You can fix it easily." "This is not something we can talk about. Either you pay for what your kid did, or I call the police and tell them he broke my things on purpose, and I tell my insurance company it was Tyler." "He's just a kid, you fool. Nothing will happen." "Actually, as his parent, you have to pay for what he breaks, and I have video of him doing it on purpose."
There was quiet for a moment. "I'll give you $500. That's more than enough." $3,500, or I file the report today. You decide. He hung up. 3 hours later, I went to the police and told them Tyler broke my things on purpose, and I told my insurance company what happened. I wrote down that Nate and Karen wouldn't pay for the damage. I also told them about all the times they bothered me and came to my house without asking. The police officer didn't believe me at first, but then I showed him pictures of the damage and texts from Nate. "Family fights are complicated," he said, "but breaking things is breaking things." 2 days later, I got a text from Nate. "I know you told the police. Good luck getting them to care about your family problems. You're making yourself look bad." This wasn't over. Not at all. Then about 4 months after they first asked for my house, Nate came with a card from my parents. It had a silly message about family history, and inside was a simple drawing of a family tree with my house drawn under Nate's name. A small note said, "Just sign the paper, son. It's best for everyone." I tore it up in front of him. "Get off my property now." Nate's face turned red. "You're making this harder than it has to be. We're trying to be nice." "There's nothing nice about trying to steal my house." "It's not stealing when it's family," he said. Like that made sense. "Think about my kids." "I am thinking about your kids. I'm thinking they shouldn't have parents who teach them it's okay to take things that aren't theirs." He tried to push past me into my house, but I stood in the doorway. "Move," he said, trying to sound scary. "Make me," I said. For a second, I thought he might try to hit me. His hands made fists and his face turned from red to purple. But then he turned and walked away fast, yelling that I would be sorry for this. After that, things went from annoying to mean. My whole family turned against me. I was the bad person now because I wanted to keep my own house. My parents stopped calling me. The family text group stopped including me. They didn't invite me to holidays. The family talked about me a lot. A cousin told me my parents were telling everyone I was crazy and making bad choices. The only texts I got were from Nate, and he wasn't being nice anymore. "You're making a big mistake," he texted one night. "We can do this the easy way or the hard way." I didn't answer. I just saved it with all the other things I was writing down. At the same time, more bad things happened at my house. Someone broke my mailbox, someone walked all over my garden, someone threw eggs at my door 2 times. I found that someone had turned my cameras so they couldn't see anything. I told the police each time, making a record of what happened. The police knew me by the 3rd time I came, but nothing much happened. I kept getting emails saying they were still looking or they didn't have enough proof. The police worked slowly, if they do anything at all. After 2 weeks, one officer took me to the side. "Look, I understand what's happening here. Family fights are bad, but we don't have a lot of police, and broken mailboxes aren't the most important thing." "So I should just let them break my things?" I asked. He gave me a look that showed he understood. "Write down everything. Get better cameras that they can't reach or turn, and maybe think about other options, like orders to stay away or lawsuits. Hurt them where it will matter." It was good advice. The next day I got new cameras that I put high on my house so you couldn't reach them without a ladder, and they had extra batteries in case someone turned off my power. I put a strong metal mailbox in concrete. I put sensors that would tell me if anyone walked on my property. One evening I came home and saw Nate's kids riding bikes on my grass, making deep marks in the grass I had just fixed. Karen sat in her car across the street, clearly watching them, but not stopping them. I walked to her car. "Get your kids off my property now." She hardly looked up from her phone. "They're just playing. It's not a big deal." "It is a big deal. They're on my land without permission, and you know it." She rolled her eyes. "Oh my, you're so dramatic. This is why everyone thinks you're crazy." I took out my phone and started recording. "I'm telling you one more time to get your kids off my property." Something about the camera made her change. She called the kids over in a fake nice voice, then stared at me madly. "Nate is right about you. You'll be sorry for this." That night I called Rick. "I think I need to find out what's really happening," I told him. "This isn't normal, even for my family." "My cousin works at the office that keeps records of houses," Rick said. "Let me see what I can find out about your parents' house." While waiting for Rick to find out things, I decided to look for answers myself. I looked at Nate's social media and saw something interesting. For someone who acted like he was doing well, there were small signs that he had money problems. The family trip they'd planned for months was gone from Karen's Instagram. Nate's business page hadn't had new posts in weeks. Their older kids suddenly went to a public school instead of the expensive private school they always talked about. I also remembered that Nate had been strange and unclear about his building business for the past few years. When family asked how it was going, he would just say general things about growing the business and new projects coming, but I never actually saw any of these projects.
Something didn't make sense.
How badly they wanted my house seemed too much. Nate had always felt he deserved things, but this was different. This felt like fear. 2 weeks later, I got a strange call from my bank. The home loan department wanted to check information about a new request that included my house. I haven't asked for any loan, I told the woman on the phone. We have a request to change a home loan that lists your house as something to guarantee the loan. That's impossible, I said. I haven't changed any home loan. There was quiet. The request was sent by Thomas and Linda Harrison. My parents. My stomach felt sick. They don't own my house. I do. That's what our checking process found, she said. The papers they gave us don't match what we have. I asked what papers they had given. I can't tell you everything, but it looks like they tried to say your house was part of a family trust. Our checking process found the mistake. After I hung up, I called Rick, who came right away with papers his cousin had found. What he found changed everything. The family house, the thing my parents kept saying they wanted to keep in the family, had loans on it. Not just one loan, but 3 loans in the past 10 years. Each time they got a new loan, they gave money to Nate for his businesses, and all those businesses failed without many people knowing. Nate's building company closed 2 years ago. His house investment group ended after a legal fight I never heard about. His sports bar closed 8 months after it opened. Each time his business failed, my parents got more loans on their house to cover it up. There's more, Rick said, pointing to new papers. They haven't paid their loans for 6 months. The bank has started to take their house. Suddenly, I understood. They didn't want my house because of family tradition. They needed my house to save them from money problems they made by giving Nate money for his failed businesses. As we looked more at the county records and public loan papers, we found something even worse. My parents had recently tried to get a new loan using fake papers that said they owned my house as another property they had. The bank's checking process found it, but they had tried. Here's how they did it, Rick said, pointing to a paper that was signed by a notary. They made a fake family trust that said it was made 3 years ago, listing all family houses, including your address, even though you didn't own your house then. They put old dates on everything and made a fake signature that looked like yours as someone in charge of the trust. Then they tried to file a paper that would give them part of your house to use for the loan. The lying was clear in the papers. They used my address, my house information, but put their names instead of mine on the loan papers. And Karen signed as a witness on several papers. She wasn't just watching, she was helping them. I felt sick reading the papers, not just because they lied to me, but because they did it so badly. Did they really think banks wouldn't check who owns a house? Did they think I wouldn't notice if my house was suddenly something they were using for a loan? They were clearly desperate. With this information, I called a lawyer who knows about house fraud. She met me at her office the next week, taking her time looking at my big binder of proof: pictures, texts, emails, house papers, loan papers, and police reports. This is actually pretty simple, she told me after looking at everything. They tried to lie to get a loan, steal your identity, and make fake papers. We have many choices. What do you think I should do? I asked. She leaned back in her chair. Well, the biggest option would be to have them arrested. They could go to jail for a long time for the fake papers and lying. The other option would be to get an order to make them stay away from you and then sue them for money and for trying to steal your house. I nodded. And if I wanted to keep this smaller, you could use this to make them do what you want, like tell them you'll take legal action unless they leave you and your house alone forever. I thought about it. As mad as I was, I didn't like the idea of my parents going to jail. Not because they didn't deserve it, but because it would cause a huge family fight that would last for years.
I wanted this to end, not go on longer. Let's get ready for all options, I told her. Make the papers for both having them arrested and suing them, but don't file them yet. I want to try one more thing first. The next time Nate came without telling me, my phone told me he was there before he even got to my door. I opened the door before he could knock. You're on my property without permission again, Nate. That's brave, since I already have many police reports about you. He tried to push past me. We need to talk. I blocked the door. No, we don't. My lawyer handles everything now. Lawyer? Don't be silly. This is family business. Stop this nonsense. Family? Yeah, right. You tried to steal my house and my identity. The camera is recording this whole talk, by the way. For the first time, I saw real fear on his face. He went back to his car without saying anything. The next day, I had my lawyer send official letters to my parents, Nate and Karen, and Aunt Susan.
The letters listed the proof we had and said that if they contacted me or came to my property again, I would take legal action right away. They answered quickly. My mom called me crying, saying they never meant to hurt me. My dad sent an email full of big words about how I was making too big a deal of things. Nate didn't call me, but I heard from another cousin that he was telling people I was crazy and making up lies about the family. Not one of them said they didn't try to lie to the bank. Not one. 2 days later, I got a text to the whole family from my mom. Family meeting, Sunday at 2 p.m., everyone must come. I spent the next 4 days organizing my proof with my lawyer. We put together a binder with sections for house papers, timeline of when they bothered me, money fraud, and when they broke my things. Every text, email, and picture was put in order with the date and time. I went to the meeting with Rick, waiting in his car down the street in case I needed help. The whole family was there. My parents, Nate and Karen, their kids, Aunt Susan, and a few cousins who were clearly there to support them. My dad started with his usual speech about family being together and respect. My mom followed with crying words about how I was breaking the family because I was selfish. I let them finish. Then I put my thick binder on the table. I know about the loans on your house, I said calmly. I know about the lying to the bank using my house. I know about the bank taking your house. I know everything. The room got quiet. Nate's face lost all color. My mom stopped crying in the middle of her sob. I got a call from the bank, I continued. They're very interested in the fake loan papers that listed my house as something to guarantee the loan. My dad tried to take back control. This is all a mistake. 3 loans to pay for Nate's failed businesses isn't a mistake, I said. Making fake papers to get a loan using my house isn't a mistake. It's lying to a bank. Nate stood up and pointed at me. You ungrateful little... Sit down, I said, not yelling. I'm not done. I already told the police about my car being damaged. I have written down every time they came to my property without permission, every threat, every time they broke in. I have a lot of proof, and I'm ready to have them arrested for all of it. The doorbell rang, stopping my talk. My dad looked happy about the break until the door opened and my Uncle Robert walked in. He's my dad's brother, who had stayed away from family fights for years. He looked serious. Sorry I'm late, he said, then looked right at Nate. I got your message about needing more money, but I thought it would be better to talk about it here. Nate's eyes got big. Uncle Robert, this isn't the time or place. Uncle Robert kept talking. I think this is exactly the right time and place. I've lent you $85,000 over the past 4 years.
Money you said was for your business. Money you promised to pay back. Now I find out you've been getting money from many other people, including trying to use your brother's house as a guarantee without him knowing. The room got loud. My parents tried to talk over Uncle Robert, but he spoke louder. I've been quiet about this for too long. Your favorite son here has been taking money from this family for years and never paying it back. I stayed quiet because your father asked me to. He said it would break the family if people found out, but I can't stay quiet anymore. He turned to me. I should have told you years ago what was happening. Nate was trying to talk, trying to control the story. Uncle Robert is making it sound worse than it is. I've had some money problems. You've had money problems for 10 years, Uncle Robert interrupted. You've never paid back any money to anyone in this family. Your businesses fail because you take all the money for yourself. I've seen the papers. My mom was very white now, looking between Nate and Uncle Robert like she was watching a ball go back and forth. I turned back to my parents. I have 2 choices for all of you. Choice 1, I have you arrested. Lying to the bank, stealing my identity, trying to steal my house, breaking my things, bothering me. The bank will freeze all your money while they check everything. The bank will take your house right away. Nate and Dad will probably go to jail. Aunt Susan gasped. Karen started crying. Choice 2, I continued, you all leave me alone completely. No calls, no visits, no texts, no more talk about family tradition, no more asking for things. My house stays mine, and you all stay away from it and from me forever. You can't just cut off your family, my mom said, but her voice didn't have that tricky sound anymore. Watch me, I replied. I'll give you until tomorrow to decide. If I don't hear that you chose choice 2, I'll assume you want choice 1. I stood up to leave. Nate stood in my way. You think you're so smart, he said, quietly but meanly. You've always been jealous. I laughed in his face. Jealous of what? Your failed businesses? Your big debt? You're not being able to take care of your family without mom and dad helping you? Move. As I got to the door, my dad called out, "Son, please, we can fix this." I turned back. "You had years to fix this. You chose Nate every time. Now I'm choosing myself." Uncle Robert followed me outside. "I'm going to sue Nate too," he said quietly. "I have the checks he wrote, the papers where he promised to pay it back, everything. I should have done this years ago." "Why didn't you?" I asked. "Being loyal to family," he said with a sad laugh. "The dumbest reason in the world to let someone take all your money." As we walked to our cars, he gave me a folder. "These are copies of every loan I gave Nate, with the dates and his promises to pay it back. Use them if you need to." I nodded. "Thanks for coming today." The next morning, I got a text from my mom. "We choose choice 2. "Yeah, right, but I chose choice 1. I didn't answer. Instead, I called my lawyer and had her start the process, filing papers about the lying to the bank, suing Nate and Karen for the damage to my car, and asking for an order to make my family stay away from me. "Are you sure you want to do all of this?" my lawyer asked. "They agreed to what you wanted." "They've agreed to things before," I told her. "I'm not taking any chances this time. File everything." After that, things were quiet for a while. I kept checking my mail for court dates or answers to the papers I filed, but the legal system worked slowly. Weeks turned into months. Life went on. I worked even harder, taking extra jobs and becoming known as the person who could solve problems no one else wanted to solve. The promotion I wanted for 2 years finally happened. I became a senior architect with more money and stock in the company. My boss said I was good at solving hard problems step by step. If only he knew how much practice I'd had. I also worked on my house, finishing all the fixes I had planned. New roof, new water pipes, smart house features all over. The house was becoming just what I wanted it to be. 4 months after our big fight, I got a plain envelope in the mail. Inside was a paper saying I won the case for my car damage, $3,500 plus $800 for lawyer costs. Nate and Karen had to pay, but the paper didn't say how to make them pay.
Getting the money from them would be another fight. Around the same time, I heard through family talk that Uncle Robert won his case against Nate. $85,000 plus extra money for interest and lawyer costs. Nate had tried to say the money was a gift, but Uncle Robert's careful records proved it was a loan. My cousin Dave told me that Nate went to court not ready, thinking that being family would save him. It didn't. I heard through family talk that things were getting bad for them. Nate's newest business quietly closed. No big announcement that they were out of money, just a sign in the window saying the place was for rent. One day, Karen lost her job at the house selling company, not because they fired her in public, but because she put on LinkedIn that she was looking for a new job. People said that someone told her boss about the lying to the bank, and they let her go quietly so the company wouldn't look bad. My parents started avoiding calls from family members they had borrowed money from. They stopped going to the fancy club they liked. Their nice cars were gone, replaced by much older cars. The bank took their house without much happening, just a note on the county website and later a sign from a house seller in their yard. The order to make them stay away from me was given after 2 times the court date was changed and a lot of papers. When the official paper finally came, it didn't feel like a big deal. Just a paper saying they legally had to stay 500 feet away from me and my house. 6 months after the big fight, I got a voice message from Nate. His voice was quiet, not like his usual loud self. "Hey, it's me. I know you probably don't want to talk, but things are bad right now. We're staying at Karen's parents' house, but it's not going well. The kids are having a hard time. I was wondering if maybe we could work something out." I deleted it without answering. The bank officially said my parents tried to lie to get a loan. They didn't go to jail, but they had to check in with an officer and pay a lot of money. What people thought of them, which they always cared about, was ruined. I saw my mom at the food store 6 months later. She looked 10 years older, wearing clothes I didn't know. Cheaper, old clothes. She started to walk to me, then stopped, remembering the order to stay away. "Son, we need help," she called across the food area. "We have nowhere to go." I looked at her, and she seemed confused. "We're family." "Yeah," I said. "We're not." "But we have nowhere to go," she said again. "After making me fight for everything my whole life, after watching me work 3 jobs to pay for college while you paid for Nate's school, after trying to take the one thing I worked for myself, you think I'll help you now?" Her face got hard. "After everything we did for you?" I stopped her with a laugh. "Be quiet. Don't you dare say you did anything for me.
You gave me nothing but pain. Wow, I didn't know you became so mean. Goodbye, Mom, I said. I watched her walk away. I felt nothing. The last time I talked to Nate was about 9 months after everything happened. He came to my work. Somehow he found out where my office was, and security called to tell me that someone saying he was my brother was in the front area making a scene. I went down and saw Nate looking nothing like he used to. The confident way he stood was gone, replaced by a sad slouch, but he still thought he deserved things. 5 minutes, he said when he saw me. Just give me 5 minutes. I pointed to the security guard. The order to stay away says 500 feet. This is about 15% of that. Do you want to add breaking the order to your problems? I'm trying to make things right, he said. We're brothers. We share the same DNA. That's it. Mom and Dad are losing everything, he said, his voice shaking. They'll be homeless soon. So what? Really, man, have a heart. They're your parents. I looked at him. Funny how family only matters when you need something. You didn't care about family when your kid was damaging my car, or when you were trying to steal my house, or when you were making fake papers with my name on them? I made mistakes, okay, I admit it, but they're going to lose everything. They already did, I answered, by choosing you instead of treating us the same, by getting loans on their house for your failed businesses. He actually looked offended. So that's what this is about. You're punishing them because you think they loved you more. No, I said, I'm protecting myself from people who tried to steal from me. It's that simple. As security took him out, he yelled at me. You'll be sorry for this. Family is all you have in the end. I went back to my office and closed the door. I thought about what he said. Family is all you have in the end. Maybe that was true for some people, but not for me. After that, I didn't hear from them again. The next few months were peaceful. I got a promotion at work, finished fixing my house, and started dating someone who respected my limits. I drive my old car on weekends, the motor running strong. Sometimes Rick and Uncle Robert come with me. That's the thing about family. It's not about blood. It's about respect. The people who tried to take what was mine weren't family. They were thieves. My house, my car, my life. I worked hard for every bit of it. No one gets to take that from me.